It might feel like this season's over, but with two very important games left, I am not done feeding you ways that Nebraska can still spoil somebody's season. Tonight, the College Football Playoff Committee ranked Wisconsin number 15 after a 28-point victory over Northwestern, leaving them to control their own destiny to get to the Big Ten Championship and to get to the Rose Bowl to play either Oregon or Utah. Now, the Badgers opening as a 13-point home favorite was pretty telling for how this was going to go. But Nebraska loves to play as the underdog, and the sharp bettors know it, so they bet this one down to a 9-point spread. I'm just saying, if there's a week to pull the upset, it's late in November with no offensive coaches and no reason to play inspired. Today, I'm diving into what's been going on with Nebraska football this week, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a preview and prediction for this Nebraska-Wisconsin football game. But what's up, guys? I'm Connor Hayden, and this is Corn Crazed. If you're a fan of Nebraska or the Big Ten, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss any of the content I drop this football season. We're really close to hitting 5,700 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit it. And if you guys like this type of content, make sure you hit the like button because it really helps the channel grow. With all that, let's jump into it.
And Martinez looking for the pylon. He's got a touchdown. Taylor Britt and a game-changing touchdown. The pick six.
Not sure if I've told you, but one of my goals is to visit every NFL, NBA, and Power 5 college football stadium, and I've already knocked a ton off the list. But for the ones I'm going to now, I like to share my experience with you guys so you know whether that's a place that you want to visit or not. This weekend was my friend Tony's birthday in Houston, and his team was playing against the Houston Rockets, so I was pretty excited to go to this game. This was going to be my 7th NBA stadium, and I had high hopes because I was actually staying in the team owner's hotel called the Post Oak in Houston. Really nice, it was extravagant, definitely a place I'll go back to, but the stadium was extremely underwhelming. It was a little bit tired, really old, and hasn't been renovated at all on the inside, it didn't feel like. Also, was not a full stadium. The team is not doing good at all this year, so it was probably like 30% capacity. That did not help. But in general, the stadium just wasn't that great. So if you're thinking about going to Houston, maybe visit a Texans game. And this morning, Andy sent me a picture in his Corn Craze merch with his new puppy. So that's the same hoodie I'm wearing right here. Thank you, Andy, for your support. And if you guys want to support the channel, the link is in the description, and it's also right here, corncraze.com. I send out orders every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so if you place your order Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, you'll get your order probably 3 days after that. Last week, I dropped a video about 8 potential coaches that Scott Frost could look to as his next offensive coordinator, and in only 5 days, that video already has 23,000 views, so thank you all so much for your comments, likes, and shares. It really helped push that one. And I wanted to take a second to shout out someone who I've been a fan of for a long time, who I found out actually watches the channel, and that's Adam Carricker. Adam released his top 10 coordinator replacement video about 8 hours after I dropped mine, and I was a little bit disappointed that people came to my channel and accused me of plagiarism, especially after I was the one who obviously went and did 4 hours of research to figure out which coordinators would be the best fit for Scott Frost. But I am thankful that a bunch of you did come to my defense, and Adam ultimately took his video down by the end of the night. So Adam, no hard feelings over here. I appreciate you watching the content. I've always been a fan of yours, and hopefully we can make content in the future. On the topic of coordinator replacements, some news happened in college football this week. Number one, Miami fired their athletic director, and that's important because when the athletic director goes, the football coach could be next. If Manny Diaz is out, that would mean that offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley will need a job. He's a name I had mentioned in that last video I made, so if Scott Frost wants to pick somebody up, Lashley could be available. Other breaking news that happened today, Virginia Tech got rid of Justin Fuente. This was interesting to me because Virginia Tech actually picked him up back in 2015 when Mike Riley was hired at Nebraska, and he was a name I thought Nebraska actually might pursue. He had a couple successful seasons at Memphis. He had Paxton Lynch at quarterback who got drafted, and before that, he was at TCU. He had Andy Dalton. He was the co-offensive coordinator and led them to a Rose Bowl victory. That's really what put TCU on the map back in like 2010, 2011. So there is a name out there with Justin Fuente that I think Scott Frost has to look into. Might not be a fit, but definitely one who could be a potential. Some other news this week, as you probably heard, JoJo Domann had hand surgery, so he will be done for the season. He already gave Nebraska everything he could, had a spectacular final game against Ohio State. He'll be playing in the Senior Bowl, trying to boost up his draft stock, so he needed to get that hand surgery for his future, which I completely agree with. Really happy that he was able to be at Nebraska for this extra season, and it says a lot about his character, trying to come back and finish the right way, and man, did he. Then you've got Cam Taylor accepting a Senior Bowl bid. And it looks like that's going to give us the sign that he's not coming back next season either. I wasn't really expecting it, but he does have one more year of eligibility. Hopefully Cam or JoJo can get in that day 2 window. Worst case, I think they'll both be day 3 pickups, but they both had really good seasons. And the last player we have who's not coming back is going to be Sevion Morrison. He actually entered the transfer portal yesterday. So he was the 4th running back behind. Number 1 right now is Ramir. Then you've got Yant. Then you've got Stepp. And you've got Morrison. So things weren't looking good for him. You don't know what would happen in the offseason, right? A new running back coach could see the best in him and bring him out. But Savion apparently wasn't happy with his playing time. So time for him to bounce out. I'm glad he came to Nebraska in the first place. 4-star running back, added the depth. But hopefully he goes out and finds a place where he can play. Also yesterday, Shenander was announced as a nominee for the Broyles Award, which goes to the nation's top assistant, and that's well-deserved. First, Nebraska hasn't given up more than 40 points in a game all season for the first time since 2009 with Ndamukong Suh. Also, their defensive efficiency is up 30%, so it's a pretty drastic change, and we've seen this defense consistently get better every season he's been here. Unfortunately, he won't win it because Nebraska's record just isn't that good. But speaking selfishly, I'm actually happy about that because if you look at the past, the guy who wins it typically moves on. 2018, Mike Locksley at Alabama got hired as the head coach at Maryland. 2019, Joe Brady at LSU got hired, I think, as the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. And then 2020, Steve Sarkisian at Alabama got bumped up to the head coach at Texas. So Nebraska gets him back. It'll be a really special defense next year because they return 6 or 7 guys, all their linebackers except for JoJo Domann. And if you've got an offense who can compete a little bit better, the defense should improve a bunch. On to the Wisconsin game. We'll start off talking about who the new coaches are on the sideline. We'll start off with the running back coach, Ron Brown, who we are all most familiar with. He's been at Nebraska on and off for 24 seasons. His last coaching stint was actually under Bo Pelini. So he started off as a tight ends coach, then moved over to running backs from 2011 to 2014. That was Rex Burkhead and Amir Abdullah, who both had insane careers. So he seems like a good fit, and he could be someone that Frost looks to potentially take over completely. He's been an offensive analyst, and I think he was part of the quality control team as well for Frost, but regardless, he seems like a really good fit. Moving on to the offensive line, we've got Frank Verducci, who has been an analyst for Frost since 2017 at UCF. Before Frost, he was actually an offensive line coach for Iowa, Florida, and Notre Dame, and he was the offensive coordinator for Bob Diaco at UConn. At quarterbacks coach, we've got Steve Cooper, who is probably the most inexperienced. He's been a quality control coach for Frost's entire stint at Nebraska, and before that, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Portland State. And last, you've got wide receivers coach Mike Cassano. He's been with Scott Frost for 6 years as a quality control administrator and an analyst. His last big job was running back coach at Miami in 2010 and passing game coordinator and wide receiver coach at UMass in 2015 when they ranked 11th nationally in passing. To be honest, I'm not sure how much these coaches are going to matter on game day. I know that Scott Frost is going to be calling all of the plays, and I guess these coaches are going to be helping out with individual players, substitutions, things like that. But I'm expecting Scott Frost to call a really aggressive game since they've got nothing to lose. This is their bowl game. Both of these last two are. And if Nebraska could win either of these, it would give them a lot of positive momentum going into next year. And you know, just as a coach, Frost wants to win to give these players a good high note to go out on. If you got a guy like Martinez who's never beaten them, and this is his last season, you really want him to win a game. Martinez should be fully healthy, so the playbook should be open, meaning he's going to be able to run the ball, and that is where Nebraska could actually do some damage against this Wisconsin D, since they haven't seen a true dual-threat quarterback all season. Now, Wisconsin's defense is no joke. They've held teams to less than 6 points a game for the last 3 weeks, and they're only letting up 216 yards a game, which to me is pretty freaking ridiculous. But Nebraska, I think, averages over 400 yards per game, so this should be a pretty good matchup. Not only is this the best defense in the Big Ten, but it's the #1 defense in the country. But this isn't anything new for Nebraska. Minnesota is number 7 in the country. Michigan is number 8, so Nebraska has been here before. Remember, Nebraska is number 6 nationally in total offense. They have a very good offense. The problem is they have a very bad red zone and a very bad scoring offense. Now here's a tweet that still gives me hope that Nebraska can do something against Wisconsin. Nebraska's offense has the second most yards per play, second most yards per game, and the 4th most touchdowns in the Big Ten. Does that not get you a little bit excited for this weekend? Now on to the other side, Wisconsin's offense was trash. Yes, trash. Until they put up 30 points on Purdue in week 7. I think they forgot that they had a run game up until then, and they just never really got anything going early on in the season. They did not have an O-line push. The running backs just were not consistent. Graham Mertz wasn't good, but things have changed drastically, and Wisconsin's offense is looking pretty damn solid. Now, their number one back, Malusi, is done for the season, but that does not matter. The backup is Braylon Allen, and he has come on strong. He's going to rush for 1,000 yards this year. He's averaging 7.1 yards per carry. Oh, and he's only 17 years old. He should be in high school right now, playing in his senior season, but he decided that he was ready to go to the big game, and he reclassified as a 4-star, came to Wisconsin, played immediately, and he's going to be there for at least 2 more seasons. Hopefully Nebraska can slow him down a little bit just to give us hope that he's not going to run wild in the black shirts for 2 more seasons. My friend Duye played basketball at Wisconsin, and he doesn't think there's any chance Nebraska could pull off this upset, but I'd love nothing more than for him to be wrong. I actually think there's a pretty good chance Nebraska could win this game. They had a really good opportunity to just lay down and quit against Ohio State, and they never did. They played that game till the final whistle, and a lot of people said they wouldn't even show up. Surprisingly, they were 15-point underdogs. They lost it by 9, but it should have been closer. Nebraska is actually still fighting to win because they've been so close all season. They still believe they can do it, and none of them are going to be satisfied until they actually do. Scott Frost is going to do everything he can to get guys like Samari the ball, get Adrian in some open space where he can take off and run. The Wisconsin defense is solid, but I'm telling you, not playing against an option quarterback is not going to do them any favors on Saturday. I'm not sure they have anyone who can replicate Martinez's speed. He's going to have a couple long runs on him, I would hope, if he's healthy. But most importantly, Nebraska's going to be doing some trickery. They're going to be playing this like a real bowl game, and they're going to catch Wisconsin on their heels because there's no reason Nebraska should show up and win this game. I expect Shenander to come up with plenty of schemes to get this offense off guard, hopefully force a turnover out of Mertz, but worst case, just shut them down at the line of scrimmage and force Mertz to throw it all game because this defensive backfield should be healthy. Deontay Williams will be back there, Cam Taylor's ready, Dismuke, and they've got Farmer, who should probably play as well. Nebraska's going to be ready to go in this game, and I'm really excited to see how the defense performs. Best case scenario, Nebraska keeps this within a 3-point game towards the end and just has to kick a field goal to take it into overtime. But realistically, I'm thinking this is a 24-20 victory for Wisconsin with a big chance Nebraska can come out and pull off the upset. But I want to know what you guys think. Is there a chance Nebraska pulls the upset? Do they cover at the very least? Will it be a competitive game? Because honestly, I hope this team does not quit. Let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And always remember to throw the bones.